For years, there has been speculation about whether there will eventually be digital money and maybe even cash will be completely abolished. Whether that will really happen and what the consequences would be, we'll take a look at in this video. First, we need to clarify exactly what we're talking about. If you mean the simple statement that cash is no longer used, but rather the electronic version of this money, then we're almost already living in that world. You can pay with cards, watches, smartphones, and even with radio frequency identification chips that are implanted under the skin. All of this is already reality, but in theory, you could still withdraw cash at any time, something like that. Is a digital representation of real existing currencies. The banknotes themselves don't have to exist, only the currency. In fact, money is being traded that doesn't even exist. Because banks actually depend on the fact that not everyone withdraws their money at the same time. Also known as fractional reserve banking, they only need to keep a portion of the deposits as reserves and can use the rest for loans and other investments. Also, a digital representation of real existing currency. But if you think that, like with cryptocurrency, money has a valuable digital existence, for example through the blockchain method, then it gets more complicated, or rather, in the end, simpler. That's actually where things are headed in the near future. Besides existing digital payment options, the euro is also planned to become digital. But why? What does the digital euro still offer us now? Since the earliest days, humans have likely practiced business and economics for thousands of years. The main idea is to benefit from the Earth's goods. We still have many problem areas in the system. Imagine a civilization with 100,000 years of economic experience. They have developed a system with artificial intelligence where everything works automatically and people hardly have to do any work at all. Maybe that's not a utopia at all, but only seems so far away because the wrong components in our system are being inflated. Maybe the system is completely on the wrong track, and we're only dealing with the symptoms instead of the core problems. For some, cryptocurrency had the potential to be the foundation for a peaceful, fair system. But cryptocurrencies are decentralized. Any computer that processes or transfers Bitcoin is part of the network. That means there is no central party for monetary policy decisions. How successful can such an apparently independent system become? The Chinese government has been trying for years to promote its own digital currency. It's only a matter of time before most countries follow suit. Let's take a closer look at the digital euro. The year 2028 has been set as the general target. The European Central Bank has been working on this for years. They hope this will enable instant money transfers worldwide. The main reason for the switch is stated in the first draft law by the European Union Commission. The main reason for creating the digital euro is that central bank money in physical form, meaning cash alone, is not enough to support the European economy in the digital age. At first, a plausible reason. But it's also a strategic matter, because popular payments via Visa, Apple or PayPal are processed through American providers. Furthermore, it could be the basis for new financing, financial innovations. As part of Industry 4.0, it could support some components, for example, for future machine-to-machine payments. If your self-driving car is supposed to refuel itself in the future or even earn money by driving other people, then such automatic payments will also be necessary. So, people are also trying to think ahead. It is supposed to be similar to Bitcoin, but still have important differences. For example, it is not supposed to be limited in its quantity. To be fair, it has to be said that it is planned for cash to continue to exist, and the digital euro will only be a supplement to it. But we also know how appealing these things are presented to us, so the days of cash are numbered. point about anonymity is interesting. At the German Savings Bank's Day 2023, the president of the European Central Bank said, "The digital euro will be nothing other than cash in digital form." Probably not as anonymous as cash, but just as respectful of people's privacy. Privacy should be maintained, but at the same time, money laundering should be curbed. How both aspects will be addressed simultaneously still raises questions. Are you wondering what the driving force behind all of this is? Very inconspicuously, while everyone is focused on the Middle East war, something special is happening. Leading politicians and representatives from 11 countries came together for the launch of the so-called 50 in 5 campaign. The goal of the campaign is to establish at least one component of the digital public infrastructure in 50 countries within 5 years, that is, by 2028. The campaign has many significant cooperation partners, including the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. What exactly is the digital public infrastructure? We aren't told anything like that here in Germany, even though our lives are supposed to be changed. Elements of the digital public infrastructure are digital identification, digital payments, and data exchange. Does the individual citizen even want these developments? When you pay with cash, the purchase is basically forgotten afterwards. Anonymous payments are possible. If we start paying only electronically, everything is theoretically traceable. With the digital public infrastructure, we leave traces everywhere. Data protection. There are always some people who know your data, even when these systems didn't exist. So, for example, when you didn't have to scan a QR code at a cafe or restaurant, or constantly share your data online whenever you log in, and so on. You were anonymous. Today, people always know where you are, what you're doing, what you like to eat, listen to, buy, and where. Today, consumers are known so well that they can even be steered in a certain direction. The social credit system in China shows us the extent that surveillance and control can reach. There is plenty of criticism about this, while for some, the prophecy of the New Testament is coming true. That eventually no one will be able to buy or sell without the number of the devil. And while some believe that even the black lines in the barcode act like an antenna and charge the product with negative energy, others stick to the plain facts for now and still see some problems. The drive to constantly switch to electronic systems, even though we know that, for example, solar storms, which are expected to occur in the coming years, can completely paralyze these systems, is questionable. Just as a reminder, money is then not only the representation of real existing currencies, but it exists completely electronically. That means if the systems fail, they would be completely gone as well. We know from the past how serious power outages can be. By the way, the same criticism also applies to electric cars, for example. We are becoming more and more dependent on it. But despite all these points, this wave cannot be stopped. Digital money will very likely become a reality soon. Thank you very much.